What's up, rock stars? It's Rocks with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blogs. So let's get to it. Alright, you guys, before we get to the video, some housekeeping. I meant to say this on my Love and Hip Hop video. That would have been the best place to do it. But I won't be doing Love and Hip Hop ATL next week until Wednesday. Tuesday, I am going to be busy. And I'm not going to be able to get to it at all. I already know ahead of time. So there will not be a Love and Hip Hop until Wednesday. Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm going to try super hard. I actually know for a fact that I'm going to get that video up on Monday, come hell or high water. But I have a lot of shit going on next week at the beginning of the week, so I wanted to make sure that I let you guys know that. Secondly, and this is just going to be real fast because I just have to remind people that I do not appreciate when people get into my comments and talk about other YouTube bloggers. Do not do it. I am going to delete your comment. I am going to block you. All right, just don't do it. It's unnecessary. If you don't like them, tell them on their channel, not mine. So it happens, not often at all, but every now and then people get in here and want to say shit, and that's just not what we do here. So that's it. No more energy on it, you guys. The gossip, though, it never goes away now, does it? So let's move on. All right, you guys, top of the blog, let's get the politics out the way. Okay, and it's not really about politics. It's really more about Snoop Dogg and this video that he posted. Ah, damn, I didn't even get the name of the song. That's how much I don't care about this song. But yeah, it made the blogs, probably more so because your president tweeted about it than anything. I don't even know if the video would have picked up as much steam that it did had he not said anything. Because, I mean, you know, I still don't know what the fucking song is. That lets you know how important this song was to radio or, you know, mainstream media. So anyway, Snoop Dogg posts a video, and in this video, he is brandishing a toy gun, and he is pointing the toy gun at a figure that looks alarmingly like your president. You know, he's an orange face. He is dressed more like a clown, but you can tell that it's at least a caricature of Donald Trump. So he's pointing the gun at him. He pulls the trigger evidently, and it says bang. And your president was upset with it. Tweeted that, you know, he didn't appreciate it. You know, imagine what the outrage would have been had he done something like this to the former president, Barack Obama. I always have to throw in our beloved former leader. Well, he's still my leader. But, you know, for y'all. Somebody told me I got to accept that Barack Obama is not the president. I said, no, I don't. I ain't got to do nothing. But stay black, pay taxes, and die. That's it. Yeah, no, I'm still going to claim him as my president. Y'all got this other fool. Anyway, it's all over the blogs. And, you know, people said that it was an expression of an artist, as musicians, as rappers, as actors. You know, that's all protected under artistic expression, and they should be able to do things like that. My feeling is this. I mean, if that's how Snoop Dogg was feeling at the time, that's fine. It would be considered disrespectful to a sitting president. You didn't see people doing shit like this ever in the past. You do have a president now that's nothing like we have had in the past either. So I don't know if, you know, we could compare the situations, but if I was just sitting back and listening to the story and thinking about it, I would think to myself that, yeah, maybe this is not the best way to handle things. My thing is, Snoop Dogg is big money. And Snoop Dogg has businesses, and he is endorsed by businesses and things like that. And we cannot forget that this is the United States. And while I guess 60% of us don't like Donald Trump, there's a 40% that do. And they move in silence. They don't like to claim out loud that they support Donald Trump. But they are there. They're out there. And you cannot be naive enough to think that the big businesses aren't run by these Donald Trump supporters. So you got to be careful sometimes. Now, you know, in the grand scheme of things, Snoop Dogg probably doesn't care. He already has his money. But still, we would like to just err on the side of caution and maybe not do these things. And then on top of that, there's one thing to express how you feel about the man, because it's done every single day, trust me. But the imagery and the negativity that surrounds that, you know, I just don't know if it's a good idea to put yourself in the middle of all of that controversy and all, you know. But like I said, this is a whole totally different new situation. We don't really like Donald Trump, so there's absolutely no No respect, none, zero, zilch coming from urban community. All right, so yeah, I mean, and then we got T.I. and we got Bow Wow jumping in to Snoop Dogg's defense. I'm sick of them. I don't know why it seems like Snoop Dogg is a big boy and he's able to take care of himself. He don't need y'all to co-sign on it. First it was T.I. who had to go and say all of these insults in a game-like fashion, okay? Then we had Bow Wow who jumped in and, don't talk about Uncle Snoop or we gonna pimp out your wife Melania. And I was just like, now what Melania do? Alright, why y'all picking on that lady? That's her husband and what? Okay, so yeah, I just didn't think it was the best idea. But like I said, if that's how you feeling, then fine. I just don't want you to become a target. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I ain't seen the video. I've just seen pictures and I've just read up about it. I have no interest in the song. So y'all let me know if you have seen the video, what you thought about it. Are you here for Snoop Dogg's antics, or do you think that it wasn't the best idea as well? Leave it below. Y'all, what about the beauty supply store in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, by the name of Misha Beauty Supply, that had an unfortunate event happen the other day? So evidently there was a young black lady in there shopping. We don't know her name because she has not come out to say who she is. I think it's just a matter of time before we find out her name. But anyway, this young lady was shopping in the store and Mr. Sung Ho Lim, guess what race he might be? Mr. Lim thought that this young lady had stolen some eyelashes, so he confronted her. She said she didn't steal these eyelashes. She let him check her purse. He did not believe her, so he went on to grab a hold of her, started kicking her, okay, and kind of shoving her around. He was assisted in this assault by his wife. They tag teamed her, basically, wrestled her down to the ground, in which Mr. Lim started to choke the girl out. Now, the girl, the whole time, I guess you could say she wasn't really resisting. She was trying to get them off of her, especially once you get down on the ground and you're being choked. Your instinct is to get these people off of you. She was telling them she wasn't going anywhere. You could tell that she couldn't breathe. For them to let her go, she wasn't going anywhere. However, they wouldn't let her go. It was a mess. It was a mess. If you guys have seen the video, it's hard to watch. It was interesting that the person that was videotaping it, from what I saw anyway, because I guess maybe I didn't see the whole thing, but I was just like, why you ain't helping your girl? You recording, and I guess that's important too, but at some point when you see the girl ain't about, can't breathe no more, it's time to jump in. But the video was posted, and immediate outrage in the community of Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, we as black women, I'm assuming many of you are black girls that watch my videos. We've all been in a situation, I won't say all, but many of us have been in a situation where we at least felt uncomfortable about Asian beauty supply owners or workers who follow you around, who seem suspicious of you even when you have not done anything, even when you are purchasing something, are outright rude to you when you are spending your good hard-earned money in their stores. We've all been in some sort of a situation where these things have happened. But we have learned to deal with it because all of the damn beauty supply stores basically are owned by Asian people. And I will say that the Asian people have also tried to assimilate and get with the program here in the United States, and a lot of them are not as rude as they used to be. A lot of them realize where their money come from, and they're at least able to play the game to get your money from you and not be mean to you. Okay, so there are some stores that are worse than others, but we've been there. But we ain't never been to the point where we was getting kicked and wrestled down and choked out. Okay, you just can't do this kind of shit. Like I said, the outrage in the black community, the civil rights activist, Mr. John C. Barnett, along with a whole host of Nation of Islam members and some NAACP members as well, they all showed up at the store and they demanded an apology. They also wanted to make it clear to Mr. Lim and his wife that, like I said, you cannot do shit like this. Okay, I'm sure their presence was quite intimidating. Nation of Islam members usually are, you know, when they about their business, they not the most friendly looking. Okay, and they should have been that way. He was scared, obviously. So he said that he was sorry that he lost his mind. He just went crazy. He shouldn't have done that. He wants to apologize to the girl, whoever she is. You know, too little, too late. Now, of course, it's all this. I'm not sure if he is the owner. Some reports that you read say that he is the owner of the store. Other reports say that he was the manager. In the video, he says that he's the owner. This is the reason why he can do what he can do. Okay, so it sounds like they're going to try to keep that business running and kind of try to disconnect him from the business by saying he was a manager who was fired, as opposed, you know, and get his kids or somebody in there to run the business. So I'm not quite sure. What I believe is people should just boycott the fucking store altogether. Because if you treat somebody like this over a fucking dollar eyelash, I mean, how much of the fucking eyelashes that you got to go through all of this? Okay, so terrible. This is just another one of those times where we realize that we need to support Black-owned businesses in the community. Beauty supplies are hard to come by. Black-owned beauty supplies are hard to come. I can't tell you where there is one in Atlanta. I'm sure there is, and I live in Black Atlanta. Okay, I live in the Swats. It ain't no Black-owned beauty supply stores down there. If you know of some, y'all can let me know. But there's work to be done in the community. These Asian beauty supply stores that treat their customers like this need to be taken to task. You cannot do shit like this. There hasn't been any charges pressed or pulled up on the owner, Mr. Lim, his wife, nobody. So right now it's just a story in the news. We'll see if it picks up any steam though. But whew. Terrible, y'all. Did y'all see the video? Wasn't it horrible? Listen, y'all. I'm just gonna report the story to you, and that is it. So evidently, there has been all this hush-hush chitter-chatter whisperings about Janet Jackson's secret love child with her former husband, James DeBarge. Okay, we have heard it over the years. I will admit that sometimes I've thought that it was true, and other times that I've leaned towards it not being true. It is one of those urban legends that we will never get the answer to, so it just stays out there as just a little distant little something that it might or might not be true. On top of that, in this last season of Growing Up Hip Hop, I think that was the name of the reality show. I never watched it, but I did hear that, you know, James DeBarge's daughter was on there, and she was talking about how James thought he had this daughter, and he believed the girl, and he had spoken to the girl and all of that, and the Jackson family have shut him out and kept him, you know, away from the truth. We don't need to get into all of that, right? Because y'all knew all of that, right? Okay, so we haven't paid much of attention to it. Now, though, just the other day, a 32-year-old young lady by the name of Tiffany White gave an exclusive interview to Radar Online where she said that Janet Jackson has been denying her for many years, that she has kept the secret a very long time, and she wants people to know the truth. She is not a liar, that she had got Granny DeBarge to go and take a DNA test, and I guess there is some traces that these two are related, and she says that this proves that Janet Jackson is her mother, James DeBarge is her father. She wants her mother and father to tell her that they love her, and she wants to know the full story of why she is not with them. Now, you guys, I'm just gonna say, have you seen the picture of Miss Tiffany White? Look, I ain't gonna say whether the girl is cute or not, okay? I look at Tiffany White and I don't see any traces of Janet Jackson, but not just Janet Jackson. I don't see any traces of even James DeBarge, okay? Now, I know people can argue that genes, you know, sometimes change up our look, and, you know, we end up looking like somebody way back further in the generations, and unless Tiffany was going way back, I just don't see any type of resemblance of where she would be I don't see where she would necessarily be related to these people. Now, it could or could not be true. The thing is, Janet Jackson is never going to give this girl the time of day. I don't give a fuck how much social pressure you guys put. The Jackson family can hold up to all type. They can hold up to major scrutiny and pressure, and they don't give a fuck about what you. This is their whole lives. They've been used to this type of scandal, and so even if some by very small chance that this shit is true, and I'm talking about the smallest, we will never know the answer, because Janet Jackson is never going to submit to a DNA test for this girl. This girl is 32 fucking years old. The courts are never going to be like, you got to do this test because we need this. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. On top of that, if by any small little teeny eensy weensy minute chance that she is Janet Jackson's daughter and Janet Jackson gave the girl up for adoption, you know what? She does not have to ever claim this child. She is not her child anymore. Yes, she gave birth to her. That's only if it was true. But I'm saying, you guys see what I'm saying? If she gave birth to this child and gave the child away, she does never ever have to claim it. That was the whole reason for adoption. I'm not going to have any connection to this child ever. You can't force somebody to want to deal with you if they don't have to deal with you. If they've given you up legally, then so it's a sad state of affairs. A lot of adopted kids, this is a lot of the reason why many of them are confused and upset about their lives, is because they don't understand how somebody could give them away. But unfortunately, it's one of those things where this is something that adopted kids have to work through a lot of times on their own. I don't know Tiffany White's background. I don't know what she's been through. None of that. Okay, so I don't know if she's had a blessed life. That wig is definitely unblessed. Let me stop, y'all. It's something beautiful in all of God's creation, y'all. I don't know what her life has been like, but to me, yeah, girl, you was barking up a tree that is never gonna shake a leaf. Okay, nothing is gonna come of it. And then she could very well be, related to the DeBarge family. That's a huge ass family, and we know that the DeBarge family have all been high for the majority of their adult life and baby making years, and fuck, any one of them could have had sex with somebody and got them pregnant and had this child. Okay, and they probably don't even remember. So, I mean, she could still very much be a DeBarge, but not necessarily a Jackson. Nobody seems to look at that issue. So this is one of those things that's just going to be, again, something that will never get answered. Janet Jackson is remarried to her billionaire husband. She's got a brand new baby boy. She seems to be very happy with what she has there. I'm sorry, Tiffany White, but you need to move on with your life. This is not ever going to get answered for you. Sad but true. I'm mad personally at the DeBarge family for pressing this agenda on when they know it's ridiculous. Even if they thought that that's what it was, it seemed like they would try to handle this under, but trying to be out you trying to force somebody to come out. This is the wrong way to do it with the Jackson family. That's all I'm saying. They are never going to succumb to this type of pressure. All right, but yeah, tell me what y'all think. Y'all think that Tiffany White is the love child of James and Janet? Let me know. Now, I done told you guys plenty of times that I hate talking about reality shows when I'm doing the reality show at that time, namely Real Housewives of Atlanta and Love and Hip Hop ATL. I mean, I am reviewing both of those shows. I talk about the shows in depth, every week, and then we got to put the shit on top of the blog. So this shit with Frost Facts. Let me tell you guys something. If this ain't some bullshit here, okay, let me just say, there were 2 stories that came out yesterday on that Famous website. First story that came out was an anonymous letter where this person said that Jasmine was actually pregnant by this man by the name of Logan, and that she had actually named the child after the boyfriend's deceased father, and something about Rod Thin Ving. He was the damn pimp to Jasmine. You know, she was a stripper slash, I guess, prostitute. And that, you know, Rod was her pimp. And that he was going, you know, they was pimping her out to this whole Love and Hip Hop storyline and see what they can come with all of that. Okay, so that was the first story. Then the second story we got later on the same website was actually, it was supposed to be Rashida's cousin, who said that the baby definitely is Kirk's, that they did get a DNA test and that is his, that Rashida knew about it even before they came to the filming. Rashida just didn't know that the show had gotten a hold of the story and that they were actually filming with the girl already. But once they found out that Rashida knew about this damn baby with Jasmine and Kirk, you know, she begged the cousin, whoever this cousin is, not to go on the show because they were going to try to create this other story about this Logan and Connor, or whatever the damn name is. And child, what the fuck y'all not gonna do is have my pressure up about this goddamn show. I done told you guys that already. When I tell you I'm so fucking sick of Kirk and Rashida Frost. First of all, I still don't believe the story. I just honestly can't think that somebody would be this dumb and put themselves out there this way, especially when we see Kirk and Rashida all over Atlanta, always together, seemingly happily married. Okay, so I just couldn't, it just doesn't make sense to me that he would put himself out there like this. You look on Rashida's Instagram page and it still says wife and all of that. I mean, she's still very proud in her standing. And I just, I don't believe it. I remember back when they had this shit with the cabin. Remember when Kirk was supposedly having an affair with the girl up at the cabin with Bobby V and all this shit, and then it turned out that that really didn't happen. It was obvious that it didn't because we never saw him kiss the girl on the show. He never really got that much out of pocket with the girl. I mean, it was an act, you know? So I feel like here we go again, but listen, stranger things have happened. I'm gonna still continue on with Frost Facts until I see some fucking proof. And I'm talking about I wants to see paperwork. I did see the video that Famous also posted where the girl, Jasmine, is talking to Kirk and he's talking to her about money and how he, you know, gonna give her the money, but he got other shit that he got to take care of. You know, a lot of people that's relying on him and everything. So, I mean, the story is starting to change to look like it could be true, but I just can't believe it. I cannot believe it. And these motherfuckers have pulled the wool over our eyes a few times. So I'm just going to reserve my original opinion, which is some fucking lie. And we will revisit it as the season goes on. And if I need to change it up, then we will. But as of now, I still don't believe this bullshit. I got all of these tags about Real Housewives of Atlanta and the cast for next season, season 10, and how Cynthia Bailey has been chopped. I read that and I took it with a grain of salt because I have been watching the show for, well, it'll be, 10 seasons now coming up. And they never settle on the cast for the season until a couple of months before the show is about to air. So at least we won't hear about who is and isn't on the show until around August. Okay, that's usually when they start saying. Now, we definitely have heard that Kim and Nene are back in negotiations to come back to the show, and that is the truth. Bravo has confirmed that. But as far as who they're going to chop, they normally don't let that news out until closer to the show is about to, the new season is about to start. So it's always a whole bunch of rumors and shit of who's going to be on the show and who's this and who's that. But you cannot believe anything until around August. I honestly can't see them getting rid of Cynthia, only because, she and Nene are back friends again, and Nene is coming back. I would imagine that they would keep Cynthia on as well just because Nene is there. But then again, we have to remember, I look at Instagram recently and, social media, and you see Nene hanging out quite a bit with Candy and Kenya. Not quite a bit, like they ain't homies or nothing, but you can definitely see that they're friends now. And Candy and Kenya don't have any issue with each other on the show this season. So you can already tell that the angle, the storyline at least, is that Candy and Nene are going to be friends next season. So it might not be any need for Cynthia. But like I said, you can't go by this until you can't go go by this until August. Once we start hitting the end of summer, that's when we gonna really know who is and who isn't on the show. When they start really filming for the next season and all that, that's when you'll know. And it's still just not sure that Kim and Nene will come back. I have a feeling Nene definitely will be back. Kim is in the air because I guess they're trying to figure out, she has her show on Bravo, and I guess they're trying to figure out schedules and already how much she gets paid, and you know how to work that in with the salary for Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm sure they're asking both of them for a whole bunch of fucking money, but Bravo has it, so it's just a matter of whether or not they think that these two will bring that much money to the show, which I believe they will, and I think they need something. The show needs something. I don't necessarily think they need to get rid of anybody, but yeah, I mean, I'm here for both Kim and Nene coming back. I already told you guys that, so we'll see. But as of now, Bravo has said that Cynthia is still on the show for next season. That could change, but today she's still on the show. Before we start, let me just say that I am not usually in the habit of automatically believing that a celebrity hasn't done some bad shit only because they are a celebrity and I might like their acting or their music or anything like that, okay? With that being said, let's discuss this accusal of sexual assault on the singer Miguel. Evidently Miguel was out somewhere. I'm not sure if he was singing and performing anywhere, if he just was out and about, and this girl, don't know her real name, but her IG name is Azealia Banks, or Xianbass. She was a fan of Miguel. She posted that she saw Miguel, she went up to him, she told him how much she loved him, how much she loved his music, how her music has brought her to orgasm plenty of times. That was the reason why she was there today. She wanted to take a picture with him. Would that be possible? Miguel took the picture with her and she posted the picture, but she also said that immediately after she took this picture with Miguel, that Miguel then turned around and stuck his whole hand in her shirt and pulled out her breast, and then she said that he went on to sneer and salivate at her breast and that it disgusted her, that she was upset and that she was going to tell the world about yet another case of entitlement, male privilege, and rape culture. Okay, now let's make it clear that Miss Azealia Banks, probably not saying that right, she did not go to the police. Instead, she took to social media and she wanted to make this clear that he didn't pull her titty out and slobbered at it, and she was disgusted by it. I mean, to me, it could very well be true. And if it is true, then Miguel needs to be in trouble for what he did, because you can't go around grabbing bitches' titties out their damn shirt, okay? But my question is, what are you doing when a person has time enough to stick their whole hand and pull your whole titty out for the world to see and salivate and look at it? What did he do after that? Put it back in there? What was you doing at that time? Because it seems like your instinct, when somebody comes towards me like that, my instinct is to knock their hand away. What the fuck you doing? I'm not ever gonna be that shocked where a motherfucker can actually pull my titty out my bra. So I just need some clarity on the situation, because it ain't making sense to me. That, and the fact that, why haven't you gone to the police if this is exactly what he did to you? Were there witnesses around? Maybe we need to bring Miguel in and question him. But, you know, the fact that she hasn't gone to the police and that she just immediately wanted to put this on social media, you know, there's so many people out there who really just want to have 15 minutes of fame, whether it's negative or positive, and this could definitely be another one of those cases, but we don't know. We don't know. If it's true, if Miguel did do this, and Miguel, shame on you, your ass needs to be brought to justice for this. But if I was just to think about it, you know, in my own little head, yeah, we need a little bit more on the story, just a little bit. Azealia Banks, her attorney, John Vaffa, He worked it out with the New York courts. They were able to settle a deal. Now, evidently, back in 2015, I believe it was, there was a case where Azealia Banks was arrested because she had been bit a bouncer on the titty. I said, boy, that titty is busy today. Shit. Evidently, she had been cut up in the club, and the bouncer was trying to get her out. It was a female bouncer, and Azealia Banks bit her on the breast and was punching at her and everything, so they arrested her. Well, the case was about to go to court. They was about to select the jury and everything. Azealia Banks' lawyer was able to work out this deal. So she pleaded guilty to third-degree assault in exchange for no jail time. And she also agreed to 26 weeks of classes mandated by the DA and the judge. They say that they're anger management classes, some mental help, amongst other stipulations. Okay, so good for Azealia Banks. She's forced to get this help, but hopefully this help, whether it was forced or not, will help her in some kind of which way. The girl definitely needs help. They say if she completes all of the stipulations satisfactorily, then the court will reduce her plea to disorderly conduct. Okay, if not, then she is facing up to 1 year of jail time. Okay, so hopefully Azealia Banks, that this works for her. Guys, so yeah, we are going to send prayers up also for YouTube and internet sensation Felicia Odell, okay, better known to you and me as Auntie Fee or Chef's sister girl, depending on who you ask. The other day, we had found out that she had been ill. She had been vomiting at home. She was rushed to the hospital, and the family had said that she had died somewhere around 4:30 p.m. So it was TMZ posted it, and of course after TMZ posted it, it took off, and all of the blogs was posting, reposting that she had passed. I was one of those people that reposted that she had passed, many others, and then not even 10 minutes after I reposted what TMZ had said, we find out that no, she definitely is not dead, but instead she was on life support. She was fighting for her life, and they didn't want to declare her dead by then. So I was just like, damn, TMZ, what? I mean, remember they did this shit with Lil Wayne? Had us all thinking that the man had died and he didn't. Okay, so TMZ was like, wait a minute, hold on. We was only saying what the family said. Okay, so they hurried up and posted that nephew Sostin Price and sister Aisha Price said that Auntie Fee had died. Okay, so they wanted to make it clear that they did not just pull that story out out their ass, or that they didn't have unsubstantiated reports from, sometimes they'll get with the hospital staff and they'll be sneaking stories to them, but we won't get no for sure names of who said what. No, this time they was like, nope, the nephew and the sister said that she had died, but she has not died. As far as I know, she is still fighting for her life. I don't know if she is or isn't still on life support, but she definitely has not passed. So we don't want to get that energy out there, definitely not. So prayers up for the Odell family. Hopefully she will pull through. I mean, we all love when a YouTube sensation hits the mainstream, and makes it big. And I mean, she was all over the place for a while. She was even in the movie Barbershop 3. I mean, I remember seeing her on Jimmy Kimmel, and she was on TMZ, and she was like on all these different shows. Everybody loved her because of her, her urbanness, we'll say. And I mean, I even use her baked chicken recipe to this day. Okay, paprika and parsley. Never thought that those two little additions to my seasoning would make a difference, but it has. So yeah, prayers up for Auntie Fee. Hopefully she is able to pull through. We are praying for her and her family. And then while we're praying, let's also pray for the family of Joanie Sledge. You guys remember Joanie Sledge from the 1980s hit group Sister Sledge. She was 1/4 of the group, joined by her sisters Kathy, Debbie, and Kim. Joanie passed away, I believe, last Friday. She was found dead in her home in Phoenix, Arizona, and everybody in her family was surprised. She was not sick. No one was aware of her being ill. So her being dead in her home, I'm sure, took them all by surprise. Today I saw that they posted that cause of death was natural causes, that there was nothing else that they could find that, attributed to her death. Okay, so she was 60 years old, which is young. to die from natural causes. It's still strange to me, but that's what they said, you guys. I remember as a child loving Sister Sledge, and I actually thought that I looked a little bit like Joanie Sledge when I was younger, okay? Because she was the one that kind of had like the more longer nose and everything. So, but I used to adore watching them. I thought they were all beautiful, and they used to all wear like the, you know, the sexy disco dresses, and they were a group that I looked up to back in the past. You know, we are family, okay? I wonder why. He's the greatest dancer. I wonder why. You know, all of those songs we loved by Sister Sledge. And now one of the members has died. I guess Sister Sledge still does travel and perform together. I think they said that one of the sisters, was it Kathy? I believe Kathy had pulled herself out of the group. Like there had been some drama with the sisters or whatever. But I guess they still do perform overseas as a group. So this took everybody by surprise, like I said. They say that she is survived by one adult son by the name of Thaddeus. I'm sure she also leaves behind a host of family, friends, and fans worldwide. Rest in peace to Joanie Sledge. And then in quickies, you guys, a quick update. Toya's brothers, Joshua and Ryan, or Rudy, they were killed in New Orleans. Was that last year? It was last year. Now, New Orleans police have booked Antoine Edwards, I believe is the last name. My phone changed the damn last name, with 2 counts of second-degree murder. He is the only suspect, and they believe that he is the person who pulled the trigger and killed them as they sat in their car. Antoine, better known as Tweezy, child. They say that he was identified by several witnesses. He was picked out of a lineup, and while nobody knows why he decided to kill these 2, they said that the area was like heavily drug infested, like a drug selling, drug buying neighborhood, and wasn't really sure if the brothers were buying or selling, but they felt like all of that was involved, and there was some sort of altercation, and that was why the shooting resulted. They say that Tweezy's bail was set as $500,000. He'll be back in court on May 7th. But good for Toya's family. I'm sure that him being arrested will give them some closure if he indeed is the person that did it. So I'm happy that they were able to catch the person that they believed responsible for their murders. Congratulations are in order for Tyra Banks, who is now the new host for America's Got Talent. Okay, you guys remember I told you that Nick Cannon quit after 7 years as the host, and they brought Tyra Banks in. I don't think that anybody knew that she was even in the running. I kept hearing stories about Marlon Wayans being the person. I was like, Marlon Wayans, like, I thought that he was too similar to Nick Cannon. Almost looks like him. Okay, not quite as corny as Nick Cannon, but can be. But I was like, maybe we need something new. And so Tyra Banks to me fits in well. Like, she is a tad bit corny, but you know, the corny that we love. Like, we love I think that she would fit in perfectly with that that whole little group of people and the type of job that she needs to do. I think that's a good choice. I think it's a good thing that she's got a new job. Okay, she's the executive producer of that America's Next Top Model, and it sucks. I have watched quite a few episodes of it. Don't ask me why. I think because I was watching something else and the channel was still on it. But that show is so bad. It's so bad. They need to get rid of that fucking show. So, yeah. I don't even want to connect Tyra Banks to this new shit that they got on the show. I think this will be a good little, you know, look for Miss Tyra Banks on America's Got Talent. Fist pump of righteousness, black women. We getting new jobs every day, y'all. Congratulations are also in order for K. Michelle and her new partnership with Jack Daniels. Now, first we knew that she was the face of the brand, the Jack Daniels Tennessee Honey, I think that's what it was called. And, you know, because she would always talk about Jack Daniels, and they actually brought her into the company and endorsed her, and I think was endorsing her tour, her last tour that she had. Now she is telling us that she actually has a drink called Southern Peach that is exclusively hers. That will be coming out with the Jack Daniels brand very soon, okay, and that it will be in stores for all of us to buy. I looked for it all over the internet. I couldn't find a story on it. So that's probably because the drink hasn't come out yet, and it will be out later on this month from what K. Michelle has said. So good for her, okay? Another fist pump of righteousness for the black woman. That's a big brand, Jack Daniels. That is a big brand. This is the first African American woman that's been endorsed and given an actual drink by you know, an alcohol company such as Jack Daniels. They're the #1 whiskey sold in the United States. So Very proud of her. People talk about K. Michelle all the time. I won't lie and say that she doesn't give them shit to talk about sometimes, but you cannot ignore the fact that this girl out there, that bitch works hard. She is always fucking on tour. She's always making an album. Somebody is buying something. Okay, that's all I got to say. So I think that is a good look for her. Congratulations to Miss K. Michelle. There are rumors that Escape is trying to negotiate a reality show with Mona Scott Young. Interesting. I mean, if it's an audience out there for them, then I think that the reality show, that's probably a good look for them. I still don't think I'm checking for an album, but I wasn't checking for an SWV album, and actually SWV's albums, the two that came out since they actually had their show, once they got back together, those albums are good. So maybe it can happen with Escape. There's just nothing that's never been on my radar. But and then we see Candy on Real Housewives of Atlanta, so I'm just wondering how this is going to work. Maybe it'll just be a whole nother show since it's a different group of girls and, the history that they have. So, I mean, it's fine. If y'all want to see it, then that's fine, okay? They still sound good. They were posted on Shade Room, a real fucked up ass video. It was low quality, but you could actually still hear that they actually can sing as a quartet. Well, it was just 3 of them. I think Tiny wasn't in it, or at least I couldn't see her in the video, but they still sound good. So maybe, you know what? I ain't gonna even hate. If they can get that shit off the ground, then good for them. And then speaking of SWV, there is talk of a biopic or biopic. Y'all know I never know the word. Okay, nothing that I'm looking forward to. I was fine with Unsung, but I didn't think people were gonna care about Miss LA. And y'all saw how big of a sensation that was. So maybe it can happen with SWV too. I don't think so, but child, like I say, stranger things have happened, right? I mean, it would be cool. I would actually watch it. I would watch it, and I probably will review it, but I just, I don't know if the audience, maybe it is. Y'all let me know, would you want to watch an SWV movie about their lives? Let me know. And then lastly, you guys, Insecure. The show is going to be returning on July 23rd. I did see that Issa Rae had mentioned it on her Instagram, and 100% for sure I will be reviewing that. I don't even think it's going to be part of Black Girls on Television. It will just be a video on its own. That's a show that I loved last season. Regret that I didn't review it, but we gonna do it this year, and it's gonna be by itself, so y'all all know where the shit is. Okay, so yeah, good for Insecure. I'm glad it's coming back for a second season. Do you guys watch the show? Are you looking forward to it coming back? I am. Alright, you guys, that is it. Let me get off of here. I gotta run in the bank and go get my food and take it on back to work. Bitch be trying to do 15,000 things at lunchtime, okay? But you guys remember, no Love and Hip Hop ATL until next Wednesday. Please remember that. And if you guys see a lot of people asking on my social media on Tuesday about it, where it is, then you are welcome to let them know nicely, gently. Don't be no asshole. But let them know that the video will be up on the following day. Okay? Alright, you guys, let me get off of here. We do this every single week. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.